Good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to Atmosphere Maps Online again. It's a pleasure to have you here for another session, which we'll hope will be informative and educational. My name's Matt Kaufman, and I'll be your host for today. Many of you will be joining us for the second or possibly even the third time, which is great. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, Atmosphere Maps Online is our virtual event series that basically takes the best content from our physical event series and delivers that to you through Hangouts on Air and YouTube. In today's session, we're going to explore the topic of Google Maps for business and mobility. The session's going to run for about 30 minutes, and we'll start off with a presentation, and then we'll go into a product demonstration as well. And throughout the course of the presentation, we'll also have the opportunity for you to submit questions for us to answer throughout the course of the session as well. So on the right-hand side of your window, you'll see a form. If you fill in a question there, we'll do our best to get to it. If we don't, we'll certainly respond to you following the session. And you also might like to take a moment now to set your YouTube video screen to full by pressing the button in the bottom right-hand corner. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Arijit Roy. Arijit runs our geospatial business here in Asia and is based in Singapore, as am I. And Arijit's going to take us through a 50-minute presentation, and following that, I'll introduce our next speaker. Over to you, Arijit.
Thank you, Matt. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Depends on which part of the world you're in. And really happy, as Matt said, some of you here for the second and third session. And I hope you enjoy the session today and it's informative as has been the previous sessions. Really wonderful to have everybody on board. And this is a series of sessions which we are trying to reach out to more and more people. And you have the options to ask questions as well. So it'll be interactive, ask questions towards the end, and we hope we give you a lot more insights about how do you use maps to manage your mobile workforce. That's really the key of the session today. And before I dive into that, let me just share my screen and start my slide deck. I'm struggling a little bit with that. Let me just get that going again. All right, I think everybody hopefully is able to see the screens. So today we're going to talk about Google Maps for Business and how does it impact the mobile part of the aspect of it. Now, fundamentally, everybody uses a mobile device today. And this is something which has created a huge impact in all our lives. And it is a device which we use every day. It is a device which we use numerous times during the day to chat to people, to talk to people, to interact, to put in our shopping list, look for directions. Now, this is something which is an integral part of our day-to-day lives. Now, let me show you some numbers. I'm pretty sure some of you may be aware of the statistics around the mobile device or connectivity around it, but it may really surprise you the amount of opportunity available today on hand. Now imagine this, the total global population is about 7.1 billion. Now there are about 6.8 billion cellular connections worldwide. That's a huge, huge opportunity available to you out there. In terms of the mobile penetration for developed countries, we've got up to 75%. And in developing countries, in the last 2 years, the number of mobile broadband connections have doubled to about 1.16 billion. That's like the kind of numbers really come across to you as an opportunity for all of us to look at what is the way forward. Now, typically, most customers today or most companies today would adopt a mobile-first strategy and then move on to making it available at other platforms. Now, very soon, or you could start it pretty much even today, you could actually go to a mobile-first strategy to a mobile-only strategy. And that would essentially mean that most of your consumers, you would have reached them because everybody's interacting through the mobile devices. Now, it was probably difficult to imagine that as early as a few years ago, we were still using and interacting with the internet and with all the apps available using a desktop. But over the last 3 years, it's definitely, the data is out there to prove that over the PCs, people have actually started using iPads and tablets to interact with all the mobiles available. Now, the reality today is that mobile is no longer a trend. It is a fact. Now, if you look at the number of devices which have been sold in 2012, more than 70% of that is a smartphone or a tablet. And in Q4 2012 alone, 52.5 million tablets have been sold. Now, that's a huge number. Now, imagine this. Now, of all that time people spend on the internet through a mobile device, 40% of that time is accounted for. So that's, again, let's look at the other numbers. If you look at the middle of the data, of all the things people do on a mobile device on the internet, 84% spend time on a map. So what do you do? Typically, look at a scenario. Look at your own self on a day-to-day basis. You're looking on a map for trying to probably find the nearest branch or ATM. You're trying to find a store where you want to go and buy your favorite clothes. You're trying to find a restaurant where you want to take somebody's special out, or looking for directions, or looking for traffic. Now, all of that applications are actually running on a map, and you're most likely using a Google map. I'm pretty sure nobody uses any other map today. Now, take that to another extreme. Now, Google offers you a whole platform of solutions. So come along Android. Now, this is something, again, which gives you an operating system which has got a phenomenal uptake. We've moved now to about 1.5 million activations on Androids every day. Now, imagine the entire platform available to you, right from devices to Google Maps to an Android operating system as a platform. Now, all of these three combined gives you a huge combination for you to build mobile apps, for you to engage with your customers, for you to take your company to the next high. Now, that is the way forward. That is the fact today, and that is no longer a trend which you can not follow. So now that we've spoken a little bit about the fact that mobility is important, now how is that critical to your business? How does that impact your business? This data points out to the fact that you must have a killer app as part of your strategy. Now, every company obviously is working towards building a mobile app, and what we're going to talk about today is fundamentally how do you build a killer app to manage your mobile workforce. And this data obviously talks about US, but this is a global phenomenon that more and more companies today have adopted a mobile app or in the verge process of looking at how a mobile app can be incorporated as part of their overall strategy to reach out to their customers, to reach out to their consumers. Now, this is a problem which most people have. Most companies have employees out in the field. Most companies are trying to look at how do you manage it better, how do you do things better in order to manage the remote employees more productive, make them be more efficient. Now, this is something which every company is tackling. Now, even if you do find and analyze the right data, many organizations can't deploy it in a usable way. And if employees don't have the tools needed to access the information, it doesn't really offer any value. Now, this is not a problem which is an abstract. This is a problem which is being faced with many companies today. And more businesses are compounded with this problem, because as your customers increase, as you need to expand, this problem gets more and more compounded. Now, just think about how many systems and data points do you need to work with in order to make it work. Now, this is a challenge which kind of doesn't go away. Be it a company which is small or a medium-sized businesses to larger organizations, reliance on a mobile workforce today to serve customers, to sell products, to maintain remote equipment, and many more activities is something here to stay. Now, if a company needs to be responsive, if they need to be efficient, and you need to manage your businesses, you must be able to coordinate and manage these tasks in a very efficient manner. And that's where Google came up with this product called Google Maps Coordinate. Now, Google Maps Coordinate fundamentally manages mobile teams within a mobile device with the background of a simple map, which is the Google Map. Now, this offers to you both a web version through the mobile functionality, and through the mobile functionality, as a manager, you will be able to assign jobs. You can view the jobs associated with the team. You can actually get a visual location of the person, and you can coordinate efforts across the entire team. And even the web-based portion of the coordinate offers, what you can do is access jobs to people. You can assign them new jobs. You can cancel an existing job, all of that on the familiar interface of a Google Map. Now, this one benefits the field employees because when they have a mobile device in their hand, they're able to see the jobs assigned to them, as well as where the job locations are. They can log on and accept those jobs. They can look at how do they go from point A to point B, and essentially your overall efficiency and worker safety in terms of productivity increases because it's a very simple interface using a Google Map, which through their own mobile devices, assign them the jobs, accept these jobs, interact with your workers, and on a simple mobile device on a Google Map. That's how simple and efficient this particular app works. And not only that, the app actually stores all of that data, all of that interactions you had with the field, the tracking of that person, the person moves, the different teams move at different parts of the time. All of that data can be downloaded onto any kind of applications backend. You have a BI reporting tool, you have a Google Docs, which you can use to analyze it. All of that can be analyzed, and you are able to use all of the data to optimize and improve your operations. So imagine this, not only does the app allow you to optimize your operations, give you visibility about your workforce, and you can actually download all of the data and take it outside a different system, incorporate it, and manage and improve your operations. And along with that, if you incorporate this with the Google's Maps engine, which is the Google's cloud platform, you're able to bring in multiple layers of data. So imagine this, if you are a person looking at fitting pipes or water meters, if you could overlay where your remote worker is using Google Coordinate, along with the fact that where are the faulty pipelines or where the pipelines are laid, and along with that demographic profiling data on top of that, look at where all the electricity pipes are so that the workers are safe, they don't go and pick up the wrong pipes, the wrong tool sets for that particular job. All of those data layers coming on top of the application gives you a lot more contextual real-time analysis of the work which has been happening, and incorporating multiple layers of data with Google Maps Coordinate and Maps Engine to make it a very, very killer application and allowing you to improve your productivity and efficiency of your business. And finally, given the fact that this is done within a mobile device, it actually means that in terms of geoliteracy, people don't have to be trained. Everybody today can bring their own device to work. They are familiar with the Google Map. They can bring in their own device to work, so you don't have to worry about the cost associated with the device. It brings it down in terms of minimal training, familiarity, and keeps the overall cost down in terms of managing the workforce better. And finally, business owners efficiently then gains insights into how the remote workers are actually working, what kind of tasks they're doing, what is the workloads, and what kind of location they're in at a given point of time. And this is available both on Android and on an iPhone. Now, the cases where you could apply this are numerous. I mean, obviously, the slide talks about various different options you have available here. Let's just talk about a couple of them. Let's talk about the delivery drivers. At a given point of time, if you want to know that the driver is given a route, is the driver, is in taking that route, has deviated from that particular route. If there are 7 delivery jobs to be done, maybe one of them needs to be canceled and they need to be reassigned another job. All of that now can be done, simplified through the app, click of a buttons, very, very easily. And if you want to optimize, if the driver gets stuck in a traffic and you want to let them know that take a better route, you can actually assign them that, looking at through the app which route they're taking. So all of that very simple and easy to deliver, manage, and access the information. Look at the situation in a utilities company where maybe you have crews who go out and fit and maintain different assets. Now, you need to know when an asset actually breaks down, where is the nearest crew? How are they available at the moment? Are they on a current job, which probably will take another few hours to finish? Now, all of that information typically are available somewhere. Now, using the Google Coordinate, it is available to you on a single app, on a single dashboard as the administrator. Very quickly, you can look at which crew is available, you can assign them a job, and the crew can accept the job so you know that they're working on it or they're on their way, and you can interact and communicate with them on the status of the job, and you can keep the larger community updated as well. So in terms of the usage, they are phenomenal, and we've seen that most of our customers actually get very, very quick ROI when they implement this. So Sutton and East Surrey Water, which is the company which is implemented Coordinate, essentially supplies water to about 650,000 consumers across about 322 miles in southeast of England. Now the challenge they were facing was to improve efficiencies around their meter feeding businesses and water network maintenance. Now the challenge they had was that the meter feeding team changed about 400 meters each month, and they had a commitment to replace about 24,000 meters for the maintenance purposes for a period of 5 years. And that added a lot of work in terms of managing, in terms of scheduling the crews. The work maintenance crews, for instance, who were responsible for replacing burst water mains, they needed to be updated, very quickly if something happened out in the field. They had to be given their tasks very quickly, and not only that, they had to be updated. They had to update back once they have fixed the particular water leakages, because the town councils fined the company if they did not have updates correctly and evacuation was going on in terms of the sites and everything. Now, all of those challenges kind of got taken away by the simple app, which is Google Coordinate. Now, the meter fitting team now receives jobs data electronically to their tablet. It means that they don't have to worry about time-consuming manual shifting of the process. In terms of productivity, the field kind of went up by 17%, and then the company saves a huge ton of money. Now, all of that, again, using the Google Coordinate as a mobile app, which is use your own phone, bring your own device to work, simple Google Map, and very easy to use in terms of rolling out and implementation. That's pretty much what I wanted to bring you in terms of the session. So essentially, it's a Google Maps for Business, which is implemented through an out-of-the-box Google app called Google Coordinate, which is very simple, powerful, and useful to use.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Arijit. Just before I hand over to Richard, we've got 2 questions that have just come through that I thought I'd relay through to you. So is there a trial that customers can use before committing to purchasing the product?
Yes, you could go online and sign up for a trial for about 30 days, and that allows you to go out and test it out and play on your own.
Okay, brilliant. And the second question is, can you just talk a bit about deployment? How hard or how complex is it to deploy a coordinate solution?
Well, this is a fully fledged out-of-the-box app, so you can configure it very, very quickly. It takes, obviously depends on how big your workforce is, but it could be a few weeks to actually roll it out and configure it to your requirements and get up and running productively.
Okay, so quite easy. Excellent. Arijit, thank you very much. Appreciate your time this morning or this afternoon. I'll hand over now to Richard Coombs. Richard is one of our engineers who is also based here in Singapore, and Richard's going to spend about 10 or 15 minutes running it through some demonstrations of Coordinate. Thanks very much, Richard. Over to you.
Great, thanks, Matt. So yeah, we have had a great introduction from Arijit into sort of mobility and what Google is doing in that regard. We have solutions for tracking devices from smartphones to sophisticated in-vehicle GPS, for example. So what I would like to do is run you through a couple of demos of that. And this is really following on from what we had covered on the 5th of September, the first Hangout on Air we have done. So let me just share my screen and get started. Right, okay, so this was the map that we had discussed during the first session. And this was basically showing some data that was collected, showing our sales territories and customer satisfaction. So we have noticed that we've got some areas that we need to improve on. So those are color-coded as either red or yellow. So using Google Maps Coordinate, we can actually look at how we can make things more efficient for the business. So Google Maps Coordinate, which I'm just flipping to here, is really a mobile workforce management tool. So it works with a smartphone app, either on Android or iOS, and a browser. So what we're seeing here is the browser interface, and this is really for the dispatchers or administrators back in the office. What we're seeing here is, on the left-hand side, a list of team members. There's this concept of a team, so you can assign any number of people into a particular team. And here we've got 3 team members who are active, so Arijit, Matt, and myself all have the mobile app open and running, which means we are sending our location information back into the system. So in headquarters or in the office, we can see a live map of where all our workers are. This is important because if new jobs come up, the old system of having to call all your workers to say, where are you and can you do this new job, that goes away. Much more efficient to see live locations. So if I just click on myself here, I can also see historical information, not only about the jobs that I've been doing, but about location as well. So if I use this time scroller, let me first just flip back to yesterday. So what we're seeing here, yesterday I was in Kuala Lumpur. You can see this is the historical location information for me yesterday. So I can drag this time slider, and you'll then start seeing me move. There I go. If I go back and forth, you can see timestamps for every location that I was on my journey. So this is great in terms of creating a new data set that I can use within the business to analyze how my mobile workforce is moving and traveling. Real power here, though, is jobs. So if I switch to the Jobs tab, let me just zoom a little bit further out. So as the saying is job assignment. So here I've already got a number of jobs already entered into the system. There's two mechanisms that we can use to input jobs into the system. One is through this interface, which I'll run through in a second, and also is using the Coordinate API. So with pretty much all of Google's products, there's an API that allows you to have programmatic access. So first, if I just want to add a new job, I'll say delivery to Central World. So here then I want to type in a location. So this is using Google's Places database, our Places API, to help determine where this job is. So I'm going to choose Central World here in Bangkok. If I zoom in slightly, I can see that it's placed that marker right on Central World. However, I know that this job I need to be delivering to the underground car park. So I can pick this marker up and drag it exactly where I want. So I can do this using both normal maps or with satellite view as well. I can save custom locations, so in future if I need to deliver to the same location, I could simply start typing in, say, a customer ID, which would find it. Also, I can use Street View. So here I've dropped Street View in, so am I in the right location? So here I can then see that marker that I just dropped, and I can then pick that up and drag that to the right location. So this is important from a business perspective to make sure that your either delivery drivers, your maintenance or operations crew, or your sales teams know exactly where they need to go and aren't spending valuable time trying to find those locations. So now that I know that's in the right location, what I can do is assign it. So this list is an ordered list based on proximity and also who is currently working on a job. So I'll choose myself as I'm the closest, and then I can create that job. I'll not schedule it, I'll just send it immediately. So I could specify a specific time as well. So now that I've got that, what I will do is switch to the mobile view. So hopefully you can see my mobile screen, which I'm sharing. So also now looking at the mobile, I can see exact locations of my teammates and the jobs that are assigned to me. So here I can look at my jobs, and sure enough, this delivery to Central World has appeared. If I tap on that, I can then see information about that job. It's worth noting that all of the fields about this job are completely configurable and customizable by you, the customer. So we didn't want to presuppose what was important to your business. So this is also then linked to Google Maps for mobile. So if I press this car icon in the top right, this will then give me turn-by-turn directions from my current location to that job. It will also give me different options if there's traffic along the way. So I switch back to there. So what I'll do is accept that job. So what you'll hopefully be able to see in the background here on the administrative panel that I've now accepted that job. And so in real time you can see the status of a job. So I can also complete that, check into that job, which means I'm actually in process of doing it, and then complete it. So that's the general process of assigning and completing a job, then using a mobile device. If I then switch back to here, you'll see that that job has now disappeared, and I can see a history of jobs that have been completed. So again, this is creating a great data set that you can use as a business to make sure you're running things efficiently. One great feature within Google Maps Coordinate is the optimization or plan feature. So what I've got here is a list of jobs that I have previously uploaded into the system using the API. They're all unassigned, so I need to know what is the most optimal way of getting my workforce to complete these jobs. If I select those jobs and I select the 3 workers, so myself, Arjit, and Matt, I can then say optimize. So given this specific day, today, it's going to look at not only location of those jobs, duration of those jobs, but also the most efficient route between them. So it's automatically configured which jobs should be assigned to which user to make the team most efficient. So I can then save those. Those would then be handed down to the mobile devices and be assigned to each of those users. So, as I was saying before, that this is creating great new data sets. So what I'm showing here is actually a dashboard that's been created that pulls information out of Google Maps Coordinate using the API. So here, average time per job. So we know that different timestamps from when the job was started and when the job was completed. So over either daily or monthly time, we can compute and calculate how long it's taking a person to complete a particular job or task. Same thing for jobs completed, so this is just then a total count. We're also then looking at distance. So if you're using the app to also track distance traveled, you might then want to compare that with fuel costs to help you better estimate fuel costs. This is then looking at daily distance and monthly distance. Also with distance, I've created a very simple application here with both Maps API and the Coordinate API. So I'm listing all of the workers within my team. I then want to pick a particular date, so I'll choose yesterday because I know I was using it. I can then calculate distance. This is now pulling out that historical information from my time in Kuala Lumpur yesterday and calculate the distance. So very easy to get things up and running to help you as a business become more efficient. So I think with that, Matt, I will hand back over to you. Are there any questions?
Great, thanks very much, Richard. Yes, there are a couple as well. Just a question about devices. Do you need a specific kind of handset, so could you use a feature phone, or do you need a smartphone to use the product?
Yeah, so this is designed really for smartphones, so both Android and iOS. Reason being, it would use the location capabilities of those phones and the nice interfaces to be able to interact and see those maps. So yeah, Android and iOS.
Okay, great. And the second question is, what sort of data sets can you overlay into Coordinate?
Yeah, great question. I don't know if you noticed that I was actually displaying in the Coordinate browser app some of the sales territories that are currently hosted in Google Maps Engine. So a lot of our platforms and products are designed to work together. So if you've got data sets hosted there, easy to pull those in to give your workers more contextual information.
Okay, awesome. Thanks very much, Richard. Really appreciate your time today. So that brings our session to a close today, everyone. It's only a very short session, these half-an-hour slots. So for those of you who asked questions, and we did get lots of them, we will definitely come back to you offline and answer them. And we really encourage you to take a moment to complete the survey, which you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen. And we hope to see you at the next session.